Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear friends, welcome back to NPTEL online course on logistics and supply chain management. So today we are going to discuss another very important concept, which is capacity planning, right? So usually when we talk about production operation management, we will talk about how we can manage the capacity within the production floor so that we can utilize, we can ensure the optimal utilization of the resources in terms of space, in terms of raw material, in terms of manpower, in terms of machines, whatever resources we are using, right? So how we can ensure the maximum utilization of those resources so that that capacity can be optimally utilized as per the demand coming from the customer. So under this session we will discuss about how we can measure the capacity, and when we talk about how efficiently and how much we are utilizing the available space or available resources, right? And we will talk about the types of capacity planning and then planning process, and we will see how we can evaluate different alternatives, capacity alternatives when we talk about how we can manage short term, long term, medium term capacity, right? And we will end this with very small case study by using break even analysis, how we can use that break even analysis to manage the capacity, right? So a capacity planning process involves determining how much production capacity is required to meet the changing demand for the products, right? So the point here is, whatever we are delivering in the market in terms of product or services, the demand for that product or services is not continuous, right? Sometime it is maybe small fluctuations are only there, and then kind of we can say saturated market. But sometime if it is increasing, then you have to increase your capacity as well, your resources as well, so that you can meet that increasing demand. What you will do if the demand is declining, right? So you need to prepare for those alternatives, what can be the alternatives, and accordingly you need to evaluate those alternatives. So point here is how we can balance the available resources to satisfy the customer demand. So when we talk about, if you talk about project, right, project management, so if we are talking about constructing a very big building, right, one kind of project. So let's say that the production of that building, or maybe the construction of that building will take altogether 3 years, right? So it's not that towards the end of those 3 years we will try to evaluate, or we will start evaluating where we are. So continuously, maybe after every month we are evaluating where we are and where we were supposed to be, right? So in that, when we are evaluating that situation, obviously three things are possible. First is, you are moving as per the plan, which is in practical situation will not happen, right? Rarely happen. The second outcome can be, you are moving ahead of the planning. So that means that is also not favorable condition, because if you are moving ahead of the what you have planned, that means you are deploying extra resources, right? So that is not that if the particular work can be done by using 5 manpower, and you are saying we did that work, same work utilizing 7 manpower, right? So that is not something we are saying that it is productive or efficient, right? So if we are moving ahead of the project, that is also something dangerous for the project manager. Or if we are lacking behind the project, so lacking behind, so many reasons can be there, right? If you are falling short of resources, can be one reason. Shortage of manpower, shortage of raw material, shortage of machines. So that is another thing, right? So this is how we try to develop the capacity in terms of resources, so that we can meet the customer demand on time. So same is the case when we are not talking about a kind of project, when we are talking about the production, right? We are dealing with products where we are repetitively we are manufacturing in numbers, right? So production capacity, strategy planning and project planning go hand in hand, because we try to evaluate at every step what are the requirements, how the requirements from the customer are changing, right? Because now maybe we are focused towards work, how we can complete that, how we are generating value and we are extracting value from the resources, we are converting those values into some meaningful product or services, and then delivering another value to the end customer. So maybe tomorrow we will talk about resources will be main constraint. Right now also we are also limited by the constraints, right? So these constraints in terms of resources. So limited resources, how we can optimally utilize. So that is all we will talk about the proper capacity planning. So types of capacity planning, if we will divide in terms of time horizon, so long term, short term and medium term. Long term is obviously always the strategic decision, whether you are talking about hiring workforce, you are talking about setting up different facilities within your supply chain. Let's say now you are coming into Indian market, Walmart is setting up their own distribution channel in Indian market. So obviously they need stores, storage house, they need distribution centers, they need all the logistics operations, right? So all these, for that they need to set up these facilities, right? They need to set up the hubs, distribution hubs, they need to set up the warehouses, right? And if they are producing something of their own, so then production facilities should be there. So this is obviously now at one point of time you will not expand throughout the country, right? So what you will be thinking, let's now explore the central part of the country, India, right? And then maybe we'll explore towards the northern region, towards the eastern, western, or whatever your planning is, whatever your product you are offering, right? So that means step by step you will go for expansion and you have that strategy, but this is a long term decision, because if you are thinking setting up one facility in Calcutta as distribution center or warehouse, maybe that warehouse you will continue for rest of maybe next 50 years or more than that. And then if the demand is still increasing from the customer, you will try to expand the capacity of the facility which you set up in Calcutta, right? So that is long term decision. Short term, how day routine decisions you are dealing with if certain situation arises. So this is a kind of reactive strategy, how you will quickly meet that. Let's say you are falling short of because of absenteeism rate, you are falling short of manpower in one production line. So then you have maybe 2-3 extra people on the other production line, or maybe the other production line is a little slow today because there is some problem with the raw material, there is some problem with the machine, whatever may be the reason. So how you can deal with this? You can ensure the other smooth supply of the other production line, and so that at least one model, one product you can continuously move in the market if you are struggling with the other one. So how quickly you will react to that. So this is how you are managing the capacity. Already you have resources, manpower within your production plant, just you are moving manpower from this, maybe they are packaging product A earlier, now they will be packaging product B, right? Because we need to move product B faster in the market. Medium term planning, so this is again scheduling, forecasting, utilization tracking and strategic planning. Let's say if we are having seasonal demand, so maybe for 4 months, 6 months or over the year, we can track the seasonal demand, and then we know, okay, this is now let's say the summer season, and then after that maybe winter season will come. So right now the demand for the winter product or maybe woolens are not that high. So still we have time, we can in that way utilize, keep some ready inventory stock, so that whenever there will be demand during the winter season, we can move that in the market, right? So this is some medium term tactical kind of capacity planning. You can expand the capacity, build up some inventory, and then later on whenever there will be demand, you can meet that. So when we talk about how we can measure the facility capacity, one concept is design capacity. This is in idle conditions, you can say the maximum capacity if you will run 24/7, if the nature of the machine is that you can run without any stoppage, right, there is no halt is required. So then whatever maximum units you can produce, you can simply say this is the design capacity, right. The other concept is system capacity. I will elaborate all these three with one example, right. So system capacity. So then on the way some expected variations will be there, right. If we will talk about machine, so maybe we are changing one model to other model, changeover will take time. So when initially we are producing, maybe we will produce some defects that also will not be part of production. Some maintenance downtime is there, we need to do that routine maintenance, then also you need to stop. Or if you are talking about manpower, some lunch break, some snacks break, coffee break, tea break, anything that is part of that, those are expected variations. So your system capacity will be little lesser than your what you have designed. Then actual output, all unexpected variations, all the negatives, positives will happen, right. Sometimes maybe you will be very close to the system capacity, sometimes you will be little away, and reasons are obvious. Let's say today we got interrupted supply of raw material. What you will do with the you have manpower but you don't have raw material. So suddenly one machine broken down, what you will do, right. So then absenteeism rate today is very high because of bad weather condition, because of some any reason, because of weekend is there, or many reasons can be there. So any these kind of unexpected variations, right. So then the actual output will be little lesser. So if I'll say the design capacity will be highest, then will be followed by the system capacity, will be followed by the actual output whatever you are producing. Now let's take the example of this classroom. Now initially when IIT Kharagpur designed this classroom, might be they thought that there will be one class, right, and obviously if I'll talk about this will be one examination hall. So they might have figured out that these many chairs we can easily set up here, okay. So roughly 90 students can sit here. So the design capacity they thought was 90. Now all throughout the years exams are not going on, right. So let us use this examination hall to deliver the regular routine lectures as well. Now when I am saying routine lectures, we need one stage where the professors will stand and deliver, we need one board, we need one projector, all the equipments we need to install, and then when I am saying that these all instruments when you are installing will take certain space. So number of chairs will reduce maybe up to 75, right, and that stage you have prepared, that will not be, you cannot put chairs there, right, obviously, and then you have to maintain some space between chairs and the stage, right. In between also you need to keep some space. So this is now the effective capacity. The actual output is, any day you check the number of students may be 50, sometimes 55, 60 maximum are turning up for the classes. That means still if 60 are coming, 50 we are producing less. That means that much capacity, those many chairs are remaining unutilized. Those 15 chairs are unutilized. So this is happening in the real world also. When you are designing the capacity, that is very high, but when you will put all the practical constraints there, all the practical setup will be there, so obviously your actual output will drop further. Now we need to calculate the efficiency. Efficiency, obviously whatever the effective capacity is, not the design capacity, right. So obviously I can never put chairs on the stage, so that should not be part, that is part of design capacity but not part of effective capacity. So efficiency we can calculate whatever we have available, whatever we are producing, the actual output divided by the effective capacity multiply by 100, that is the percentage efficiently we are using that space, right. Utilization is obviously the actual output and the design maximum capacity. So later on you design the stage, you put all those equipments required, TV screen, camera and all those things, that is later on you added. So this is how you can see utilization and efficiency will be little higher than utilization, because utilization obviously will be very less compared to actual output. And then you can find out effective capacity, the design capacity minus allowances, all this whatever furniture you need to set up. Not only chairs are required, right, you need to set the desk also, so that desk space also you will be utilized. So this is one example, just you can go through. The actual production was this, effective capacity is this much. Now design capacity was we can produce 230 units per hour, right. What if we'll run 7 days, all 3 shifts, that means 7 into 3 into 8, right. So these many hours will be there. 1 hour we are producing 230 units, you multiply by 230, we should produce 38,640. But how many we are actually producing? Actually we are producing this much, and effective capacity is 28,000. So you can simply find out utilization is 64.7% only, efficiency is 89.3%. See, utilization we can't do much, wherever we are restricted by limited by that space, we cannot utilize that. But yes, efficiency, whatever available that capacity is, we should try to reach somewhere 95% or more than that. Yes, 100% cannot be there, because changeovers will be there, breakdowns will be there, so those all things will be part of that process, right. Now types of capacity planning. First is workforce capacity planning. So workforce means we are talking about the manpower. See, whenever we are talking about planning the resources, in management we say we are using 5 M's as resources, and those are manpower, money, machine, material and methods or technology, right. These are the resources we are scheduling always. So we are limited with these resources, we are limited with money, we are limited with machine, we are limited with the raw material, we are limited with the technology, and obviously manpower. If obviously if 100 people are required all the time, 100 will not be there. Some are leaving the organization permanently, some are on means absenteeism rate is also there, some are dealing with some other problems. So these situations will be there. So right number of workers and hours, productivity, how we are calculating? If we have 5 people for 8 hours, so 40 hours we have. So if 1 hour, one person can produce this much, so 40 hours, how much product we should produce, right? This is how we are calculating. So product capacity planning, right number of products or resources needed to fulfill the deliverables. Let's say you are saying that like the example here is pet store. So that means pet store means you should get all the items related to your pet there only, not only food, you should get pet toys also. You should get the equipment to maintain them, you should get all the accessories required to handle your pets, you should get even medicines if available, right. So those all resources, if I'm saying I'm automobile services provider, right, or maybe you can come and purchase the car as well, right, and I am providing all the financial support services, all the after sales services. So that means you should have all the accessories, you should have insurance facilities within your facility, you should have financing facility, maybe the other party is there, but you should have that facility, right. The bank has set up their office in your retail showroom, but yes, that should be there if you are promising that. And then if you are saying after sales services are also there, so whenever you are requiring the services for your vehicle, you can go there and you can get the services and spare parts as well, right. Accessories also we need, so that means that one stop solution should be there for that particular industry or product you are talking about. Tool capacity planning, so whatever machinery, vehicles, assembly line parts are required, they should be there when and in what sequence it is required, right. So this will talk about in the very next session when we will talk about sequencing and scheduling, right. So these resources should be available. Resource capacity planning, So here we try to maximize the capacity of the existing resources. If you are having machine and that you can run 24/7, so if you are running only 6 days or 5 days, you are not exploiting that for 24 hours, you are running only in 1 shift or 2 shift, that means you are not fully utilizing. So that reason may be you are only operating in 8-hour shift and maybe 7 days. So rest of 16 hours you are not using that machine, and the reason may be because that much demand is not there. Demand is one problem, but yes, that 16 hours that machine is idle. When we will talk about the productivity of that machine, obviously I will calculate productivity that you should produce 50,000 items, but you produced only 20,000 items, right? So that much capacity was there, system capacity was there, but you produced 30,000 less. Now when the very next question comes, demand is not there, what we will do by producing extra? We can produce for other players, maybe our competitors. If they are also requiring the same kind of material component, we can use that existing machine for 16 hours, and this is how most of the organizations are doing, right? If you will talk about the molding plants, right, where most of the plastic parts we are producing. So maybe one molding plant is there which is producing the plastic products and then supplying to Philips within in-house, right? And then there are so many other competitors of Philips, Havells, L&T, ABB, other Usha, other players are there. So you are not able to utilize that machine capacity fully. Let us, we can utilize the capacity and we can sell those plastic components we can manufacture for our competitors as well. Project capacity planning, already I talked about how many resources are required, how many machines are required, manpower are required. Initially we are estimating that this project should be completed in 3 years, right? So how much we have, like we are using Gantt chart, we are having different activities A1, A2, A3, and x-axis we are having timeline, and then we are saying that okay, this A1 activity should go up to this point, A2 activity will start somewhere here, will go up to this point, A3 activity will start and will go up to this point. Now as the project progresses, I will see up to fifth week this much part of A1 should be covered and this much part of B1 should be covered. Let us check how much we have covered. I will highlight whichever part I have covered and I will see, okay, I am lacking this much part, right? So still we have reached here and we are lacking this much part. That means we need to speeden up. So what is the reason why we are lacking? Reason may be you are limited with the resources, or you have the resources but you could not use optimally, right? That can be also the reason. So capacity planning process, here are few steps. First is estimate capacity requirement. What are your capacity requirements? That will depend upon how much is going to be the demand. You will forecast your demand. Obviously we have seen how you can forecast your demand. You need to define the demand function, whether demand is depending upon the population, demand is depending upon their purchasing power, their income, the price of the product, price of the other complementary goods, the quality of the product, availability of the product. So many factors are there, but yes, you have configured a demand function and you know this much per week, per month, 6 months, every year I need to produce, and this is moving like this, the demand is moving like this, so there is growth, so it will go like this, or it is moving like this, or it is moving like it is coming down, so you need to plan. So that you need to estimate the capacity requirement. Once requirements are done, evaluate the existing capacity. Okay, so this much is the capacity required, and right now we have only 3 machines, 5 are required. So obviously we need to go for the other 2 machines. But if we will be having 5 machines, the 5th machine will be utilized only 30%. 70% we won't be able to utilize. So what we will do with that 70% extra capacity, right? Identify alternatives. Then we need to find out different alternatives. Let us not go for 5th machine fully. We will have 4 machines only. 5th, we will, that much part we can outsource or purchase from some other vendor, right? So once we will be sure that this fifth machine capacity will also utilize fully, then we can purchase the fifth machine as well, right. Then so many different alternatives, we will talk about how we can find out those alternatives. Conducting financial analysis also, this is what I was talking about. If you bought a machine and the initial cost of that machine is very high, right, and you are utilizing only 30% part of that machine, obviously there is no point of purchasing that machine, right. So you can see who are other players who are manufacturing those components, and you can, for the time being, for 6 months or 1 year or so, you can define that okay, we can purchase those components from that particular vendor. Assessment of qualitative issues of alternate, this is also very important. Let's say right now you are experiencing little high demand in your product. So what you will do, you may outsource, or you may you may outsource to some third party, but your organization, the employees attached with your organization may feel insecure because you are outsourcing your function to some other organization. Whether you are planning to outsource completely, that may be the message, right. Organization culture, if your organization culture is maybe you maintain the work hygiene, you maintain all the quality standards, and then you are producing whatever you are producing, right. But the other company culture is they focus only on production. So if that is the scenario, then the cultural difference will be there, and then how the supply chain stakeholders will take. So if you are purchasing raw material for producing that product, now earlier you were producing 50,000 items, now the demand is for 75,000, you will still produce 50,000 items and 25,000 items you will outsource. Now your vendors must be looking that for this 25,000 order they should supply the raw material, but because you outsource to third party, now you don't have control from where they are buying. Otherwise you should mention in your contract that from where we are getting the raw material, you should also get the raw material from there only. But yes, that again depends upon how you are negotiating with that. Finding best long term alternative, how we can balance the capacity with the requirements. First alternative, you increase the capacity. How you can increase the capacity? Obviously you can have new equipments, more machines, more resources. This is how you can increase the capacity, right. Second is optimize existing capacity. So existing fully you are not utilizing, so how you can utilize fully? So maybe if we are saying that there is stage, and during lectures we require the stage where professor can stand and deliver, but during examination time that stage is not required, but that is fixed stage. So can we have that movable or temporary stage where the cost is not high? Whenever stage is required, we will take it on, and then when it is not required, we can remove that stage, so that extra 15 chairs we can set up, right. So outsource production, which I talked about. If we are not sure that we will utilize the fully that capacity, we can outsource. Use flexible workforce. So this is also the concept that temporary you can outsource or part-time worker, but if you are a very good brand, your image is you are ethically very strong, so hiring people for part-time can be something go against your brand image. You cannot just hire people when required and fire when those are not required. So that is again against if your culture is not supporting, right. But yes, then many organizations take this decision in different way. Implement demand management strategies. So you know that anyhow you cannot increase right now the capacity, so let's increase the price. So rationing you can do that. Earlier I was buying maybe 2 products, I will buy only 1 product because now the price is very high. I will wait for some time and then price will come down, again I will go for the purchase, right. So that also you can do. Develop contingency plan, some inventory you can build up, you can have some backup supply, so that those situation you can make. And sometime you can come up with the new technology and fully automated. When you are doing that, obviously the output will increase, so productivity will also increase. implementing the best selected alternative. These all alternatives are there, whatever suiting the best to your organization culture, to your manpower, and your stakeholders are happy with your decision. You will check the feasibility with all those stakeholders, and then you will implement. You will do the cost benefit analysis as well, right? So then monitoring results, then you will keep on monitoring the results, and then somewhere you will realize, okay, now let us go for our own facility, and then we will not outsource, right? That also can happen. So this is what I was talking about. Maybe your growth pattern is like this, or it is declining. So let us, when it is declining, we know that it will decline further. Let us introduce one new product so that we can utilize that capacity. If it is cyclic demand, for here we are having the maximum resources. So during that downtime, what we can do, like during summer times, more than 2 months break is there in any educational institution. So those big buildings, all the lecture halls, all are vacant. No one is utilizing that. All the facilities, it's not that facility we are not utilizing, the equipment we are not utilizing, the AC, the machines, the projectors, and if we will turn on after 2-3 months, some equipments may break down because we never operated for that long period. So that can happen with industries as well. So how we can utilize during that time? Can we have some extra programs like MDPs, FDPs, training program within the campus, and then people are coming temporarily, staying here for 10 days, 20 days or 15 days, or maybe 1 month or 2 months, so that capacity also we can utilize and we are generating the revenue. No fixed investment is required, right? Only the logistics requirements are there, so that we can meet, and we can meet from the registration fee or whatever, right? And if it is stable, that is the perfect position anyone imagine for that, right? So now evaluating these capacity alternative is very important, and the basic tool which we can use is break-even analysis, how you can plan the capacity, and some other public opinion, your stakeholders, how they are reacting to that, we can go for that. So this is break-even analysis, how we can use that break-even analysis. And break-even analysis, you know that there is one fixed cost to set up that plant, there is one variable cost, and if I'll add the fixed cost and variable cost, that will be your total cost, fixed cost plus variable cost, and there will be some revenue, total revenue, like this it will be, right? So now break-even point is this point where our total revenue is exceeding the total cost. That means this, let's say this quantity is break-even quantity, right? So here you can write sales, you can write profit, whatever you are measuring, market share that you are measuring, right? So when this revenue will take over your total cost, that means that quantity, this point, this is the break-even quantity. So if you are producing less than this break-even quantity, that means if you are lying in this zone, it is better you should outsource, right? You should manage your capacity by outsourcing that product. But if you are producing more than this break-even quantity, you should produce in-house, because after that you will start generating the revenue. This is the profit region and this is the loss region, right? So this is the main concept of your break-even analysis. You can see total cost already I talked about, the fixed cost plus variable cost, and variable cost will be how much units you are producing, and variable cost per unit. Total revenue will be how many units we are producing, and revenue per unit, and this is the volume of output we are producing, and we want that this output Q should be always greater than your break-even quantity, which is QVEP, and then we will get the profit, right? So this is how you can calculate the break-even point, because at that point we are maintaining the equilibrium. Here your total cost is equal to total revenue. So total revenue is this, total cost is this, you can equate this from this equation, your quantity will be equal to break-even quantity. This is the break-even quantity. So this is the relation how you can find out break-even quantity, fixed cost divided by R minus V. R revenue per unit, V variable cost per unit. So this is one example, you can just find quickly go through. If I need to find out, this is one pizza manufacturing unit, so they just want to find out how many pizza they should cook so that they will be on the profit side. So this is the fixed cost, this is revenue and variable cost per unit. It is defined here, the data is given. You can find out the break even quantity is 800 pizza. So minimum 800 they need to produce. If they are expecting order less than that, which is the case right now 700, so that means this is not profitable investment. You should outsource this, right? You should outsource to some other restaurant who is already cooking the pizza, and then you can channelize those 700 orders from there, right? So other parameters also you can calculate from here. Another decision, make or buy. This break even analysis beautifully we can use, like I told you that this is your fixed cost, this is total cost, which is your fixed cost plus variable cost, and this is your total revenue, right? Now this is the break even quantity. So whether you should make or buy, obviously if your quantity order whatever you are producing is less than this quantity, means if this is loss region, this is profit region, if you are lying here, you should outsource. And if you are ahead of this point, you should produce in-house. This is how simply you can make the decision. No controversy on that. If you are producing, now the point comes, if you are producing less than that break even quantity, to whom you will outsource? Because that person will also be below your break even quantity. No, because that person may be getting orders from other competitors as well. For him, he can achieve that break even quantity, but because you are only producing for yourself, so that order quantity is little lesser than the break even point. Now this break even quantity depends upon the the plant size also. Sometime what happens, maybe you will get break even point so early, sometime maybe you will get the break even point little late. The reason is because this is big size plant, this is small size plant. So if your plant capacity is very high, obviously break even quantity will be very high. If your plant capacity is low, but your break even quantity will be low. Now you have to make trade off between two. Why? Because if you will set initially very low quantity, low capacity of your plant, what you will do if your capacity, you have to make capacity double overnight. The response is coming so positive from the market, what you will do with that, right? But the other point is, if the customer will not react in the way you are thinking, what you will do with the existing that big size plant? So you have to make the trade off in between, right? So this is another, you can see make how, if you are doing make in house, so fixed cost for setting up that plant is this much, variable cost per unit is this much, and if you will buy, so you have to spend $150 per unit. Now we have these many units to produce, and you can see how we can find out the break even point. You have fixed cost, variable cost to buy and to make, and this is the total your break even quantity, that is 3200. Now if you will make this in house, this is the cost, because this fixed assessment is required. Per unit you need to have $100 per unit, and 1000 is the requirement. Now the one way is you can check easily, because this is 2,60,000. If you will buy, the cost will be 1,50,000. So obviously you will go for buying that, right? And also you can check this quantity is 3200, and because you are producing only 1000, that also you can compare with the your break even quantity, it is less than that, you should buy that, because if you will start producing, so then you will be on the loss side. So here I want to just elaborate a little bit on this break even point, how you can utilize this to manage the existing capacity of the plant. Let us say this is the quantity, and the same break even point I am talking about. I am having plant A, this is plant A. So let us say this is the revenue and this is the total cost of the plant. So this is obviously the break even point for the quantity for plant A. Now if I'll extend this, obviously this much maximum I can produce because I'm running my plant only for 12 hours, right? This is maximum I can produce, but I'm feeling that still the demand is increasing. So what I can do? I can increase my capacity. I can increase my capacity by doubling the shift. So instead of operating for 12 hours, now I'll operate in 3 shifts, all 24 hours I will operate my plant. So if you are operating in extra shift, obviously little higher cost will be there, but yes, profit will be still there because you are having that revenue. But this is the maximum if I am producing using this, and this is 24 hours maximum capacity, right? Now what still, if still your demand is increasing, so what you will do? You will do some, at this point you will invest into some fixed assets. You will hire more machines, more manpower, you will maybe expand the capacity. How you can expand the capacity? Maybe the classroom I was talking about, let us break this one wall and we will include the next room also, and in that way earlier we were having only 90 capacity, now we will be having 130 capacity. That also we can do. So that fixed asset requirement is there. If you are going for more machines, obviously fixed. This may sometimes cover this your revenue, because this is total revenue line, this is total cost line. So that depends upon the nature of the industry, whether your expanding this capacity will overcome the total revenue or will be still lower than that. Okay, if it is lower than that, at this point we will start producing, okay, then your total revenue will also increase. Let's say after expanding everything, this is maximum we can produce for plant A, right? Now there is no option, we have explored the double shift, all 24 hours, 24 into 7 we are working, we have expanded the maximum available space, whatever was available, machines, manpower, whatever, we have done that. Now still the demand is increasing. So obviously now I need to set up one more production unit, plant B, and then I can again, maybe this time the total cost will increase, overcome the total revenue, right? Because now plant A plus plant B is there. So again plant A and plant B capacity will increase, again you can go for double shifting and all that will be there. So this is how you can utilize this break-even analysis for maintaining your existing capacity, right? So these are the references, you can go for further reading. So that's all for this session on capacity planning. Thank you very much.